You hear it in the air, you feel it in the sea. Metal Harbor is the place you gotta be. Does that make sense? I don't know. But we're finally here, my favorite SA2 stage, and I'm ready to get all over it.
Command Tower to Custodian. We're gonna need you to vacate the flight deck. Over.
Oh, come on, there's plenty of room.
Squadron's gonna be dropping a payload on the boat. Over.
You're firing on your own boat?
Routine test in case of hedgehogs. Over.
What? They're really shooting the deck because of me?
No, I said hedgehogs. Over.
I'm a hedgehog.
You are?
Yes! This is a stupid test.
Over. Sorry, I forgot. Over.
That's it! Call it off! Someone could seriously get hurt!
Ow. Over.
Just roll the damn intro. Metal Harbor is the stage that never stops. It goes and goes and goes until you can't go any longer. It has long been my favorite level in all of SA2, and going into this video, I wanted to figure out why, and I was surprised by my findings. My memory did not serve me correctly. Turns out this course is very easy. Probably the straightest line out of all of Adventure, from start to finish. And yet, I still love it to death, and I think I have my answer now. Metal Harbor is like a proto-boost stage. It's very focused on speed and performing actions correctly to keep your speed up. That's the obstacle in this summertime stage. It ain't the enemies, because there are none. It's slowing down. Other SA2 stages require mechanical proficiency. You know, you gotta swing those poles, carry those keys, think about gravity, pick the right rail. But Metal Harbor really just gives you a narrow path with specific inputs, light dashing being the big one. While these actions are simple in hindsight, I believe every easy piece of progression here actually has a bit of complexity to it, and I hope to prove that today. But first, Sonic Adventure 2, a first for this channel. SA2 has two versions, but the changes in battle are thankfully not as egregious as our director's cut. However, there are things to note, and I will be noting them. Our main analysis will focus on the 360 port of Adventure 2 Battle, released in 2012 with widescreen and high definition, but we will not leave the 4x3 original in the dust either, because I went back to that Dreamcast ditch and found a fresh 2001 copy of SA2 just sitting there. What luck. So, every battle analysis will feature a Dreamcast comparison along with it, like Speed Highway. And like Speed Highway, I'm sure that will still somehow piss people off. Sonic the Hedgehog, folks. Always a joy to discuss on the wide world of the internet. Alright, let's cut the radio chatter and get to the matter at hand. Metal Harbor needs discussing, so let's get into it. But before we set off, let's look at the music track. Hey, a big band bonanza, dare I say. The horns make it feel like you're speeding through a military parade, bouncing over the marching band. The intro to the song is incredible, and I'm sad we never got it in the game. But listen to the soundtrack version. It singles out the guitar at the start. You hear it picking up faintly until the bass slides in with the beat, and then it blasts off in that Metal Harbor way. The guitar kind of leads the song with its sustained notes, and the band backs it up after every little beat. I like that balance. The organized band reflects the rigid presence of the military, and that guitar mirrors Sonic's movement over them. But the guitar also mirrors the beach tracks of the past, doesn't it? Mainly Emerald Coast. I love that industrial switch up. You see, Metal Harbor is back on the beach, but it's got a harder edge this time around. More grittier, a bit more vicious in its underlying tone. I mean, Sonic is in jail here, he's not at a vacation resort. Emerald Coast is Sonic smiling, Metal Harbor is Sonic smirking. You know what I mean? It's such a victorious track, though. When the guitar is holding those notes, there is a sense of pride. Dare I say, it almost feels patriotic? Mission accomplished, you know? You're too young to know that. Metal Harbor is not a hard level, and the music already makes it feel like we beat the stage. However, instead of robbing the drama of the scene, I think it just reinforces the fun. Like, there is no fear in this fleet. I'm already going in confident, and the music's got my back. Just another reason why Metal Harbor is one of my faves. It always gets a place in the rotation because it's such a blast, and a blast is what we must have as we leave the music behind. Amy finally opened those bars that we can easily fit through, and we are escaping this cell. Immediately bursting off with our first set piece, the Big Band Breakout. Alright, I'm kind of pushing it, calling this one a set piece, but this level is like 5 seconds long, give me a break. As we break out of jail, you see? So what is this? Why am I talking about one loop and one curve? Well, it's a vibe-based set piece, first and foremost, trumping any gameplay. Within this stylistic circle, you can maybe cut your ascent short or grind on a rail, that's about all you're given. So let's instead look at how it's introducing Metal Harbor. First off, it's the only Adventure 2 Sonic stage that starts us from behind. All the others track Sonic coming in, but in Metal Harbor, Harbor, you're already primed to move forward, which kind of ignites that prison break context that we were set up with. Plus, they drop us into a massive angular slope right as we gain consciousness. I mean, look at that. A silly thing I love about Metal Harbor is that a lot of the slopes are hard angles. The actual bend of the path sits at the bottom. Like, look at this start. It's 3 flat plates connected back to back. There is no grace to the track, so when we speed through it successfully, it feels like Sonic can triumph over anything. Plus, when we see the next loop ahead, we know they're gonna take us for a ride. And what a shot, right? This is Metal Harbor right here. A crowd of seagulls, rockets sticking out of the sea, and this rigid crisscross of steel that makes up our road. SA2 is really good with dressing up its pathways. Green Forest has those overhangs that leak light through. Final Rush has all those blinking warning signs. Crazy Gadget has everything. Like, even here, the road has slits in it. If we combine it with the wind we interpret through the gulls and the clouds, I imagine that the sea breeze probably squeezes through these things, cooling down our quills, even in the hot, hot sun. Wonderful. And when we complete the jump, Sonic goes right up that loop, and it's a summertime shot as we circle the lens flare that burns our corneas. And the seagulls are back again. Remember Dragon Road? Birds equals height. We are high up. And now when the camera hits leveled ground, we can finally video this game. 4 rings point us into the edge of this turn. Now, Metal Harbor is where you learn the light dash, which means on a first go, you're just grabbing these coins rather than using them. But on a replay, it's an automatic connection to a clean grind. As you twist around the bend, the aircraft carrier blocks the horizon and sort of points you to your next direction. Radical! Let's hit the dash ramp and pause, because I gotta see this place back in 2001, the year of SA2, and nothing else. As we can see, things are much brighter at the outset. Without any distant fog, your upcoming route is lit up, and the yellow and orange markings stand out a bit more. You're also gonna immediately notice something else. The harbor is feeling much more barren. Battle enhances the stage by decorating it with more docks, rockets, and even those 2 beautiful aircraft carriers that box us into our path. With no more 4x3, they gotta take use of all that extra space, right? I mean, it was there on the GameCube, but now in widescreen, you could really see the effects of it. But the original is just alone at sea. Now, I actually think that gives Metal Harbor 2 distinct vibes between our versions. The Battle remix makes this area feel like a gun fleet, a litter of platforms with ships at the ready. All those tall walkways suggest that there were a lot more missiles at this place. The original feels much more like an offshore installation out in the ocean, a small encampment there to observe the island, which is featured a ton in 2001. The remix hides the island in the fog behind the harbor, but the original makes this level analogous to the cutscenes we see of Prison Island getting immolated. And it kind of makes sense too. Like, an empty offshore rig is the place you'd imprison a hedgehog, right? Alone out in the ocean where it can do no harm. In the original, Metal Harbor feels like Alcatraz. In battle, it kind of feels like they locked Sonic in a cell at the center of gun headquarters. Like, why did we hide him somewhere so important, guys? Come on. This is where we keep all our ships, and he's making fun of us. So, battle exists as its own place. OG feels like it's part of the island. I'm a sucker for the size of the fleet, so I'm a battle stan on this one, but I still gotta note how the OG connects more with what we see in SA2. But that's a lot of vibe, right? Technically, Big Band Breakout isn't doing anything drastic gameplay-wise, but nor is Metal Harbor in general, so I believe it sets the tone of the stage correctly. The exciting music track is timed to your movements also. Hitting that first dash pad, taking that loop, it's all very well executed. And the first ring trail kind of kicks the linear sprint into high gear. As a vibes guy, I'm pretty hyped. So let's actually start hitting things as we fly right into our next segment. Beetle Bounce Boot Camp. Watch your ass, Sonic. These things float. And stay still! Beetle bouncing catches a lot of flack in the fandom. And I get it. It's kind of a cop-out for combat. You're fighting enemies, but they could really just be balloons for all we care. I brought this up in Kingdom Valley, and I still don't know what to think. It doesn't rub me the wrong way, but I see the critique. They can feel like padding, monotonous traversal. However, I will defend them here, as I do think our 2 main chains require a bit of finesse if you're trying to earn that A rank. So let's soar. Again, 2 big blocks and crap on the left. No, you're going this way. And I don't think this was intentional, but I do appreciate how this single light exists in this empty space, so things still feel complete. But look! A beetle! Now, you can just slope right down and wide spring out, but Mr. Beetle hangs out in this open space, so let's climb aboard. And now, we got our first basic of Beetle Boot Camp. You cannot just spam A. Your homing attack requires range. There is no boost style lock-on, and you can see it right here. If you try and attack right after your first beetle, you'll just fly over the second. But if you wait to get in range, you'll continue your combo. With the 2 steps of this rooftop, it provides a gentle landing onto the higher point, and you're set to move right on forward. forward and steal an animal. Yoink, I'm grilling you up later. But hey, Beetle Basic number 2, you can bounce into other actions. Okay, maybe not right away, as you'll need to re-metal the harbor to experience this, but if you climb onto the 3 beetles on your left, you can complete your chain with the light dash, never needing to land on the ground. I think homing chains become more exciting if you let them lead into other actions, and this is a great first impression on a replay. Now, even if we skip the dash, we can home to our right to access the Chow Crate. However, homing to reach new areas is a city escape basic, so we'll let that guy sit there. Plus, who cares about the Chow Garden anyways, right? Anyone? But on run number 1, you have no light dash, so you are not experiencing Beetle Basic number 2, and are therefore springing over to our next platform in a dizzying display of shots, which in battle at least gives you more harbor to look at. But now onto our final Beetle Basic. You gotta aim your thumbstick, man. City Escape gives us beetle lines, but there's a circle on this path. You can just bonk ahead, but to chase the life on your left, you're gonna have to crank it a little bit. Your thumbstick, relax. The thumbstick on your controller, Jesus Christ. Which means to reach more difficult areas is gonna require you to at least participate in the shape of these chains. Not only that, if you want to nab all the points and get your golden beetle, then you're gonna have to bounce strategically. Think smart by rounding the circle while still giving yourself a bounceable exit. Use your brain. Brain boy, get the beetle. We win! Final platform is where you actually get to the light dash, and a good vantage point to throw Omochao into the ocean. Wonderful. Now, take me back to the past. Please! Battle didn't mess with the layout, so again, we're just examining aesthetics here, and things are the same as before. It's empty out in the ocean. But 2 big differences in our beetle bouncing. With less clutter, the beetles are far more apparent. They even have this light purple shade that lets them stand out more. I mean, look at the difference before our chain here. There's so much going on in battle, you can barely see them. But in the OG, even our ring trail stands out from this distance. The other big beetle bouncing difference is that our final chain feels more narrow with 4x3, which means the circular maneuver acts as a surprise in the moment, rather than an obvious extra path. You do see it much more on the bounce over, but on the light speed dash, they're pretty masked. However, that's just more for us to learn in Beetle Bounce Bootcamp, ain't it? And that's why I stand by my beetle bouncing when they're presented like this. It requires patience, you can style if you want, and you gotta move the thumbstick. You can't just spam. Which is why, for how beginner this stage is, I enjoy this basic ass bouncing, because I at least gotta think to hit the A rank. If you allow incentives and finesse beyond that boring bouncing, I think it can become more rewarding for the player. You at least want to stay active on these chains. Boost kind of loses this with the lock-on, so I wonder if that's where bouncing discourse has bubbled up in recent years. But here in Metal Harbor, you gotta engage. Hold with the home, waste no time with a dash, and get all those bounces in before flinging right into our next segment. Carrier choreography. Anyone call for a big straight line? It might not be dynamic, but you can't tell me this doesn't look cool. Sprinting down the tarmac of an aircraft carrier as jets unload upon ye. I think it's technically not tarmac, it's like the flight deck, you know what I mean. They could have dropped an extra bomb or 2, but we can't sink the ship, right? That's why you aim for the command tower. Now, after light dashing across the gap, a fighter jet will speed right by our quills. His upward motion at least highlights a bit of the tower, but the camera is more concerned with showing us the length of our path and how we begin the sprint. Aim for the pads, my dear boy. And when you do, the air show begins. A plane will fly towards your screen within a second, and he leaves a temporary hazard in your path. These at least let you maneuver past them in motion. And by these, I mean that, because if you just keep holding forward, you're off the carrier immediately. But let's not pretend that 5 gun jets didn't just fly past our ears. These birds do some tight turns, and they fly pretty damn close to the player, which I thought was just for show. But believe it or not, you can destroy these things for some extra points. Even Shadow let the pilots out, Sonic. Jeez. Choosing to assault the jets actually brings out more of the hazards on this line, as you'll now be slow enough to encounter the bombs that the planes drop. They even send some missiles to the next platform, which you can run into if you're not careful. But other than that, the carrier doesn't offer us much. There is an extra life to your left, some beetles in the hangars, and a mystic melody that leads you to another life, and a hard exit. You can even light dash back up to the carrier. But now you're screwed because the rings don't respawn. However, they did plan for this. As we step forward, do you hear that? That mechanical whir? Something just opened up. If we be brave and jump off the end of the carrier, you will fall onto a hidden platform with a rocket to take you to the next checkpoint. Thanks, guys. But was the rocket there in 2001? Well, we know the planes were, but yes, the rocket appeared as well. We are safe in both timelines. As always, brighter and reduced environment. You also don't see how far the carrier extends in the OG because there is no background structures to place it. Not only that, a 4x3 aspect ratio ratio makes the road narrow, which makes our progression feel faster. Otherwise, all the tips and tricks are still there. So, carrier choreography, unfortunately, is the most neutered set piece of this stage. I think if you engage with the assault on the jets, the carrier becomes much more of an obstacle, but Metal Harbor is a level that keeps urging you to move forward, so it's a bit antithetical to the vibe. I can see an exciting progression through this path. Like this one little fireball hints at a much more dynamic straight. If only they added a little more of those explosions, you'd have to bob and weave to survive. It'd be cool. Oh well. But if we structure Metal Harbor around the objective to thrill, then I think the carrier is succeeding with all its close calls. Jets flying by, light dashing, you still get one explosion. Plus the roar of those engines is so freaking loud. I love that they blast that sound effect. But let's blast ourselves forward, as we got a lot of ground to cover in Hightail Harbor. Again, the navigation through here is downright primitive, but the roller coaster track they lay out for us has a lot of twists and turns, so let's get into it. The initial ring trail here is an example of light speeding for strategy. It's not huge, but it's a little tutorial. The previous trails are all mandatory progression points, but this little bend has you crossing a corner in half a second, a corner which required jumping, a corner with another aircraft carrier in the distance, changing our direction. See how they do that? Hitting this dash kind of teaches you, oh, I should aim for these trails. They will cut my time in half. And then you're onto a loop before you can even think about it. But oh shit, it's a half loop. Oh shit, I'm running across the other side. Oh shit, I'm flying through the air. This combo is great because the camera keeps hiding your next area. You don't see the incoming loop on the first dash. You don't realize the loop is not a loop until you get to the top. And you don't really notice you're sloping down to the gap until the ramp pops in. But you can skip the hang time of the ramp by just jumping right over it. Otherwise, we get these two quick lifts. Nothing big here. Roll under, grab up. They do let you ascend to the height of all the rockets you keep seeing, and yet again, you catch a massive descent and a big ol' loop. Massive coaster vibes right here. Take the loop, scream your heart out. It's up to you. Before we leave the chain lift, however, I want to shout out my Mission 2 A rankers. Collect 100 rings is the goal, but once you hit 99, Hightail Harbor stops giving them out until the rocket. However, they left one cheeky surprise for us. Bounce to the chain lift roof, and you will find one single ring. Just one, spinning in the sun. Mission 2, ranked. Now, back to the main path. A dip and an incline will send you airborne, and if you can manage enough propulsion, you will be able to land on the rail curve. Radical. Yet again, our final roll is pretty devious, as we don't see what's behind it, and before we know it, we're dashing towards a drop-off. The reason I think this is so devious is because you hear the dash pad fire off before you see it. The crawl space hides it. But we've gone through our basics, we know what we're doing, so we hit the next goalpost, and prime our rocket. But before we start asking our older brother for help, let's hightail it. In the past, yo, guess what? Less stuff, more sun. Without all that crap in the water, Prison Island is much more apparent. But so is our coaster track. Battle is good at hiding it with the docks and missiles, but the original keeps it in view. Otherwise, the route is virtually identical, except for one tiny beetle bouncing difference. I believe that they added an extra beetle for points in that final chain, because I don't know if it ever appeared for me in the OG. One more life spared, until the GameCube came along. But now that we've hightailed it, let's speak on the harbor. This falls into carrier territory. Very little to do if you're just moseying forward. You can mosey with brain power by cutting loops short or jumping over ramps, but the goal here is the ride. So unless it's A rank time, it's fun to just enjoy the inclines and descents of the track. I do appreciate that final test of the beetle bouncers. After learning your 3 beetle basics, they give you a final test to see how fast you can recognize a pattern. And I bet nailing that on a first run makes you feel pretty good. Another radical vibe set piece, but we've been having too much fun. We gotta get a sibling in here. No way we're nailing this part. It's the power plant of Adventure 2. I'm gonna start crying because we gotta deal with the missile launch in 15 seconds. How'd I come up with that one, huh? Okay. Why is this so damn hard? This is Sonic level 2. Couldn't they give us a little more time? I'm not even 15 years old at this point. Do you expect me to climb this thing in 15 seconds? I have no shame in admitting that the missile launch still gets me to this day. Even the bottom handle is tricky for me, and there is a specific reason. But let's tackle a smaller rocket first and blast onto the platform. The goal is simple. Go up one flight and grab the big yellow handle that all rockets have. However, once you cross this light, the big scary man on the loudspeaker says you got 15 seconds. and a bright red timer appears, which counts down in milliseconds. Just give me the first number, man. This does not put my mind at ease. But that's the point, isn't it? Because the route is simple. You literally circle around a bunch of straight lines, but they make this so terrifying by blaring the alarm and shaking the structure. Plus, the loudspeaker already announces your remaining seconds at 10, so at all moments, you are nervous. But that's not the hard part. So, adventure games do not treat their boundaries like a boost game. If you hit them, they will stop you, which can be deflating, but it puts more emphasis on centering your running, right? And this platform is very tight, which means you might panic and bounce Sonic into the railings, losing your momentum each time. Not only that, your ascent up the ramp is slow, even with the dash pads. And ugh, those dash pads. Make sure you hit those things in the center. If you are off base, then Sonic is seeing stars, and you are seeing that little rocket again. So I think the boundaries of this path are the real killer. Panic and hit those, and they do make you panic. Then you're slipping up. Now, I've grown up enough to handle the first handle by now, but there is a higher handle that even my grown ass can't reach. This is my A rank decider. I know you can A rank without the top handle, but I'm not good at video games, okay? Once you reach the top of the platform, you might catch this beetle bouncing chain on your left. Hit those, and you're gonna be faced with another nasty dash pad, and more incline. As you catch the next escape route, you're already seeing the number 3, and you're probably hitting that last platform with 1 second left. It's hard to get up this damn thing. I almost always start my launch with 2 goose eggs. There are little tricks to climb faster. Hitting the bounce pads near the base can shave some seconds off. Homing into the dash pads directly will cut your airtime. It's just hard, man. It's so damn tight. And even in the past, I'm still sweating. Sunshine can't help me here. I'm still bonking around like an idiot. But I do love that for once, both of our versions share the same environment. The rocket climb stands alone in the ocean. In 2001 and 2 and 12, they kept this scary ass set piece as is. Now you do get to see a bit more of the harbor in battle, but otherwise, both boys are sent to space without their helmets. And you know hedgehogs can't breathe in space. But please, do not take all my bonking angst as criticism, because just like the Shamar Shuffle, I love the final effect of all these evil little details. I think it says something that even today, this section still makes me nervous. And I still fuck it up. I got so many failures on this recording, just to get you guys some clean footage. It's hard, I swear. But I love that they snuck this anxiety simulator at the end of our fun little harbor show. It stands alone. It seems so easy, but halfway up, you start getting the sweats. The blaring siren, the operator who won't shut up, shaking the whole structure. It's so deliciously brutal for a kid first going through it. I can't be the only one who got freaked out about this thing, right? Please tell me I'm not alone. This missile launch, in 15 seconds, has always remained in my memory as one of those parts that I gotta brace myself for. And the fact that they hit it in Middle Harbor of all places really puts a twist on this fast little stage. And hey, it is a fast set piece, isn't it? The speedy vibe keeps going. And we are going straight into the atmosphere. The music shuts off and the platforms around us explode into pieces. We hard cut to the clouds and watch the massive rocket soar into the sky. I love this shot because you get a bird's eye view of the entire stage. You even get a bit of this in the OG, but the clouds are much harsher in 2001. We hold position as Sonic catches up to us, and his position does change depending on which handle he grabbed. They remembered. But as he passes our eye line, we keep holding and watch the rocket fire into the sun. It's so bright, and suddenly, even the engines die down. A rare moment of silence within this rapid-fire stage. But then, what's this? Bursting from our lens flare, it's Sonic the Hedgehog. He smacks the camera, and we swing around to watch him take on our final set piece, the Silo Slide Out. Okay, what the hell is this thing? Seriously, a giant metal chimney? The only thing I can fathom is it's some sort of silo, but who the hell is dropping a nuke down this Plinko machine? It's a rigid snake of awkward angles, propped up by absolutely nothing. But the second I start trying to ground Sonic in reality is the second I start entering space without a helmet. So let's deploy the boy down the shaft and kick off that sick as hell song. Can't Stop, So What is not what I'm saying to you, it's the song name. But it's a repeated shredding hard rock melody that follows Sonic as he shreds the chimney himself with a board he pulled out of nowhere. Well, it's from the vent he face plants through. He's so resourceful. And Can't Stop So What sets off right on that metal explosion. You get this tiny drum lead up which shocks you from that seagull silence, and then, oh god, we're boarding. By the way, neat trick. If you spam the jump button during your rocket ascent, Sonic can actually jump off the handle earlier. Helps with that A rank time. Works in the original too, but oh god, we're boarding. I never really realized it, but this is our only other board section after City Escape, except it's faster than ever, and the slope is oh so steep. It makes you slide down this thing at insane speeds. So much so that it's hard to grab all the items. I don't think I've ever hit all the item boxes in one go. The perception is a bit awkward at this angle. You'll often swing too wide and hit the wall instead. But for once, Adventure 2 isn't stopping us. You will keep propelling down the silo no matter the bonk. But also, to catch these pods, I do believe you need a jump for some, which I even forgot I could do at this point. Jumping on the board also kind of drops your speed, which helps you position yourself. But without any real obstacles, it's mainly used as a fun finisher. Before we continue, however, we must inspect the OG Adventure one last time. For once, I am all for the bright lighting, because now you can actually see inside this chimney. The lens flare still leaks through, but that's okay. The cramped aspect ratio makes it feel less like we're descending into the back rooms, and it kind of helps with item collection too. However, one strange change is that battle has you skip on your board for just a second before gaining control. The OG has you shredding instantly. I like the bounce though. It makes you feel the impact of hitting the floor, you know? Both of our adventurers will complete their slide out and take a final loop before jumping into the goal ring. And one final difference, battle's structure accoutrement at least suggests some sort of escape for Sonic. In the original, the tiny aspect ratio just has you pointing at a single platform alone in the ocean. Someone please call Tails, we need to pick him up. The last difference is both boys pose in different shots as well. Battle highlights that new structure, OG focuses on the loop. And overall, the slide out is an exciting cap to the thrill ride of Metal Harbor, because there are no hazards to impede the thrill here. A little easy, sure, but when I break through that vent, I know it's only fast fun until the end. And after that terrifying climb onto the handle, it honestly acts as a bit of relief, despite the ongoing speed. I like that it's very hard to slow down, and that it even gets its own music track. City Escape and Metal Harbor are the only levels who get that privilege in all of SA2. And both of those tracks are sped up shred fests, which explode past the previous jam of the stage. It's awesome. It feels awesome. It's unobstructed fun, and a final drop in the roller coaster level. Couldn't be more appropriate anywhere else. But let's finally land our blue boy into the goal ring and complete Metal Harbor. Someone call Tails. Alright, I gotta fish Sonic out of the ocean, but before that, how does Metal Harbor make you feel? For me, I feel like I'm making a military installation my playground. The juxtaposition of rigid steel and summertime fun is Adventure 2 in a nutshell. It is hard, radical edge, traversed with such ridiculous speed and grandeur. Every dire situation feels like a big party. Like breaking out of prison should be dramatic, but this is just a vacation for the blue guy. Sonic takes those hard metal plates with no slowdown. He's bouncing over sentries, grinding on the guardrails. Part of me thinks he grabbed onto that rocket just for fun. There must have been an exit off screen and he thought, nah, I want to try that. It makes that strange drop into the chimney feel like a conscious decision, the way he just appears with that board. Sonic is not escaping, he's playing around with an entire gun fleet. And this level is built to ensure you have the time of your life. Because let's be honest, nothing's gonna slow you down here. The only hazard you might hit is this single explosion on the carrier. But otherwise, it's a clean sprint until the end. So they rack it up with loops, ramps, airtime, and most importantly, light speed trails. This is where you learn it, and they let you use it to take turns, get you on rails, save your life. Each trail is paced pretty well throughout the stage. There's one on nearly every set piece. And let's not forget the OG. Despite its lack of surroundings, the Dreamcast version feels cheerful and warmer. It cranks the good vibes a bit more than our Iron Fleet. And despite the lack of differences, there are two distinct flavors of Metal Harbor here. Cutscene equivalents and standalone location. Neither feel flawed. If anything, they connect to two different headcanons. Just depends on how you want to tell the story of the second adventure to yourself. But let's speak more on the Harbor's gameplay. For players looking for more complexity, I recommend trying to go for the A rank here. It'll force you to make precise moves in a lot of these sections, like cutting loops in half, stealing every enemy you can get in a chain, not dying at the rocket. I actually found this level pretty tough to 100%. I nailed a lot of Sonic levels before this one. It's easy to play, but hard to perfect, in my opinion. They give you so little, which means you need to get creative to bump up your score, and mistakes are non-negotiable. And that reliance on perfection kind of reminds me of the Boost games. Unleashed specifically. Like, you gotta use finesse on some of these track elements to push you up to that final rank. And maybe that's why I like it so much, even now. I don't think there is complexity in the layout. I think there is complexity in appropriately using the track for maximum gain. Get creative, find unintentional shortcuts, kill more than you see, and succeed even with taking the bottom handle. It is possible. Replaying Metal Harbor was a bit of a reality check for me. I might even call it the easiest level in SA2. But the fact that it puts the focus solely on the thrill keeps it as one of my faves. It's like every time I fire up this game, I gotta do Metal Harbor. I gotta. Even over City Escape, it's so short, so fast, so fun, and it just leaves me smiling. It's catered for a swift, simple time, and I'm never disappointed. Here's to you, Metal Harbor. Now please, don't shoot me! And that is how we will leave things today. But I gotta know, how does Metal Harbor make you feel? Even with its simplicity. What do you love about it? If you wanted it to be more complex, what would you add in? And what is the giant thing we slid down? Please, someone tell me. Chimney silo? Metal corridor to hell? I got no idea. Anyways, Metal Harbor has always been my back from break video. I knew if I was ever exhausted, I was gonna start back up with this stage, because it's short and sweet and so much fun. Sorry if this episode was a bit shorter, but I wanted to experiment with a quicker production time here. Plus, it was really exciting to finally look at an adventure level alone for once. No boost to weigh it down. Let's do some more of these down the line, yeah? But not next time, because next time, we are going back to Unleashed. Only 2 day stages left until the Joyride, which means I can't really give any more hints on this one. You just gotta guess. Sorry. So, subscribe so you don't miss it. Better yet, turn on notifications so you don't miss it. I mean, at this rate, you might as well leave a like. Dare I say, comment too, if you want. No pressure. Okay, I've had enough fun in the sun. Let's get back to work. This was a nice, speedy episode, and I'm off to the next. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Don't grab onto any rockets. And peace.